Hi, I'm Pete Knock, ecologist with the Nature Conservation Council, and this video is to highlight the value of our large hollow-bearing trees and ways we can protect them from fire.
There are about 40 species of hollow-dependent fauna that are threatened in New South Wales that are dependent on these hollows. Species like the yellow-bellied glider, greater glider, squirrel glider, long-eared bat, the big owls, the masked owl, the barking owl, the powerful owl, and the sooty owl. They all need the big hollow trees, about 200, 300, 400 years old. Decent hollows that are used by the hollow-dependent vertebrate fauna take about 120 years to develop. And the big hollows, the hollows in these big red mahoganies, blackbutts and tallarwoods in this forest here, they don't start developing until they're about 220 years old. The issue of the loss of hollow-bearing trees and the hollow resource after the 2019-2020 wildfires has really highlighted the accelerating loss of this resource in these forests. 23% of these trees over 60 centimetres diameter had been lost. That rate of loss, particularly when you look at the scenarios that are coming out of climate change predictions with more frequent, intense fires, we're going to lose another 20-odd% in the next fires, and that's just unsustainable. It's likely that we could lose all the large hollow-bearing trees and the hollow-dependent fauna that are associated with them within 100 years unless we take very strong measures to protect the big old hollow-bearing tree resource.
What's a hollow-bearing tree? Usually they're the largest trees in the landscape. They're greater than 60 centimetres in diameter. They have dead and dying branches in their canopy, cracks and faults in the main trunk, and cavities at the base extending up into the bole of the tree. We need to map their location, incorporate them into an overall property plan so they can be considered during any fire event, whether a planned, cultural or wildfire. Another key factor to note is, are there any obvious signs of wildlife use? Scratches, chew marks around the entrance of hollows or the bole of the tree, scats and pellets at the base, or accumulation of guano inside the tree. Regurgitated pellets found at the base of trees are also an indication of owl activity. One of the measures we're trialling on this property is what we're calling the keyhole clearing technique. It aims to give landholders a guide to protecting their large hollow-bearing trees on their property. This tree has been used as an example of our first keyhole clearing. Most of the very large trees on this property were impacted in the 2019 fires. Planned burns can also impact hollow-bearing trees. When large trees are not protected during burns, the risk of collapse is significantly increased. Hollow-bearing trees are now so scarce in most areas that they need to be treated as significant environmental assets. So active management is now crucial to slow and prevent further loss. This technique we've labelled the keyhole method. It's basically clearing a 2-metre wide path into and around the base of a large hollow-bearing tree in a keyhole shape. Approval was granted from the Biodiversity Conservation Trust for this particular action. Seek ecological approval to prevent any impacts to rare or threatened plants. Contact NCC staff or your local Land Services office. The idea is to remove any dead material, large branches from the ground, any dead standing timber, small saplings and the grass. This is basically to provide a small fire break around these very important habitat features. A basal scar is damage to the base of the tree. It's classed as a hollow, but what we've learnt from the fires is that the trees that have got an existing scar are far more prone to be burnt in succeeding fires. These fire scars are basically the entry point for fire to enter the tree. For this tree we started with small hand tools, including loppers, handsaws, rakes and electric chainsaw. The NCC has a website with the Large Forest Owls project. We were providing resources there. These videos are available, including written resources to show landholders how to use this keyhole clearing technique. We hope by protecting our large habitat trees, it'll give our wildlife homes well into the future.